Hi. So before I do a couple more examples from 9.2, I'm going to talk about asymptotes. And I apologize, my dog is licking something in the background. I just gave her some peanut butter, so she'll be quiet. So that's what that noise is, if you can hear it. So we talked about we talked about hyperbolas in the earlier sections, or in the earlier videos. There's the example that looks like this, and then the example that looks like this. I'm going to just pause and zoom in for a little bit here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this one starts with the x squared over a squared. So the way you can kind of remember that is your vertices are along the x-axis. There's one here and there's one here. And if it starts with the y squared, they're along the y-axis. Okay, there's two asymptotes. There's these two, or the same thing with the other example. For this one, it's b over ax and negative b over ax. And this one is a over b times x and negative a over bx. Now, just to make it a little bit easier, of course you can use your notes for this test, but what I tell people, because normally you don't get to use notes, is the way to remember this is, just so you don't get these confused, is this is a number that corresponds to the y, and this is a number that corresponds to the x. Same thing here. The numerator is what corresponds to the y, and this corresponds to the x. So I always try to think of slope like y over 1, y over x. That's the way I kind of remember it. So, okay, now I'm going to pause this and zoom out and look at the problem that we're going to deal with in this. Okay, so here's the example. We could tell that my a squared is 7, or actually it's 49 technically, and my b squared is 81. So I can tell it should hit along the x-axis. The vertices should be along the x-axis. So I can kind of tell it's not going to be this one or this one. It's got to be one of these. So let me come back to that, okay, in just a minute. The next thing they ask is for the foci. So again, I'll come back to this in just a minute here. So here's a squared, here's b squared. Remember, c squared is a squared plus b squared, so I just wrote that up here. So it's 49 plus 81, which is 130. So here are my two foci. That's the first part. And now I'm going to get to the asymptotes. Okay, I copied that down here as well. Okay. So the way I find the asymptotes is, if you kind of look up here again, A is 7, B is 9, just so we have that. So the asymptotes are, I'm just making it so you can see this a little better, are b over ax and negative b over ax. B is 9, a is 7. So it's basically 9 over 7, plus or minus 9 over 7. So this is plus 9 over 7. So think about it. They go through the origin, and the slope is 9, 7, so I go up 9 over 7. That's this line right here. And then negative 9 over 7. So if I start the origin, it's negative, so I'm going to go down 9 and over 7. So this is the other one right here. Okay. So the two asymptotes are 9 over 7x and negative 9 over 7x. Now to figure out which one of these is correct, they have these rectangles in here, and they explain this in the book too, and this is kind of how I was taught, is if you start in the middle, you go to left and right 7, up and down 9, you have this rectangle here, and then the asymptotes, oops, I'm kind of messing up there. Okay, and the asymptotes go right through the diagonals. They go through this one and this one and this one and this one. So if you kind of look at this, this is 9. This should be wider than the 7. So in other words, this part of the rectangle should be bigger than this part of the rectangle. And that kind of helps you answer the question. So for this one, it's wider here than it is here. So that's what makes you decide between these two. This is the correct answer for this one. So this is 9.2, number 5.